Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on one simple question, and I would like to get your answer in the comment section below and why you say so. So not just a mere yes or no, but actually an answer and then why you say so. Now the question is, has the GNU delivered on its promise on providing a better South Africa for all? It's very simple. Now I know that you already have your answer as to yes or no, but I want you to think about it and answer it with some context below. Now, my response to that is no. And the simple reason for that is because when the GNU was formed, the focus was to have a coalition of different political parties that would work together to improve South Africa for all. Now, of course, the three big things that need improving is the growth of the economy, it is fighting crime, and it is creating more jobs. Now, in the first year since the GNU has been in existence, we know that they had to adjust the projections for the economy to a lower projection, meaning that the growth rate that was anticipated was not met, and they had to lower it. So economic growth, no. Would they be able to fight crime successfully and bring down the crime rate in South Africa? Well, if you just look at the murder rate on its own, no, they have not done so. In actual fact, it looks like year on year, it has increased exponentially compared to before the GNU existed. And with regards to job creation, well, yeah. Needless to say, the unemployment rate has reached a new high. The broader definition of unemployment is roughly at between 42 to 45%. And under the youth, unemployment is at, I think, 62 to 65%. So, no. So on three big issues, the GNU has absolutely failed to deliver on their promises. And then if you look at policy implementation, a lot of people said that the reason that the GNU need to be formed is to keep the EFF and Umkhonto we Sizwe out. Now, you have to look at this a little bit broader than that. Because when the ANC was in control as the sole party that had more than 50% plus one of the votes, they had an opposition in the Democratic Alliance that would call out the stupid things within the policy recommendations and would try their utmost best to put political pressure and judicial pressure on the ANC, apologies. And then added to that, of course, was the fact that we had an opposition that fine-combed through everything to ensure that what was passed was for the betterment of South Africa as a whole. Now, since the GNU has been established, that opposition has completely been evaporated. The official opposition in South Africa right now is Umkhonto we Sizwe. That's right. Umkhonto we Sizwe, and having a working relationship with the EFF, the two of them are the official opposition in South Africa. Now, if that doesn't scare the shit out of you, then I don't know what else to tell you. But the opposition in South Africa to the GNU is a communist socialist opposition. And the GNU, as we know, is the biggest party in the GNU is a communist socialist party. So we have in government communists and socialists, and in the official opposition we've got communists and socialists. And then you just have to look at the policies that has been signed into law under the 7th administration. Now, a lot of people are going to say, Renaldo, the acts that you're about to mention was formulated in the 6th administration, therefore there was nothing that could be done about it. Bullshit. There could have been a lot of pressure put on the president in order to not sign these destructive bills into law to become acts. Now, the three of them, of course, is the Bella Act, which the DA and most political parties campaigned against during the 2024 election. So another question is, why would they campaign against these bills if they knew that it was already going to be signed into law? So, don't ask me that. Ask your favorite political party that. The Bella Act pretty much wants to get rid of Afrikaans, and they want to take the power away from schools and their governing bodies and want to leave the control with the provincial government and national government. A perfect example of this is in the Eastern Cape. There was a broad issue statement made that no school is allowed to provide their fields for activities after school hours, meaning event companies can't come in on a Saturday or Sunday when there's nobody at the school to have events, and therefore the school has lost tens of thousands of rands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of rands. I know that in Kirkwood, where the Volksfeest takes place, that used to take place on the school grounds, but because of the Bella Act and because of the implementation of it, that school has now been missing out on over R1 million in extra revenue. So that is already a destructive act that's in place. The second act, of course, is the Expropriation Act. I don't have to really get into that as much, but as we all know, expropriation without compensation is possible in that act, meaning that you can get null compensation. And yes, people, null means zero. And then, of course, the last one is NHI, which, if we have to nationalize the healthcare system in South Africa, it doesn't work in first world countries, is definitely not going to work in third world countries. I don't really need to explain why, because you just need to go to look at what the state of provincial hospitals are in and the clinics, and then you will have your answer there. I would rather want medical aid and a private hospital than to go and risk my life in a provincial hospital. And I feel really sorry for everybody that has to and is forced to go to provincial hospitals or clinics. It is a death trap. It's as simple as that. So this is in essence what the GNU has accomplished over the last year. They've managed to vote in destructive policies, 3 of them that are now law, and then the 3 big ones that they should have looked at improving: the economy, unemployment, and fighting crime. They've failed miserably at all of them. So a lot of people are now saying, oh, but we need the GNU to save South Africa. But the GNU is not delivering, first and foremost. The GNU is implementing destructive policies. So the fear that people have is, oh, but if the GNU collapses or there are some political parties that leave, then that opens the door for the EFF and for Mkhonto weSizwe. Now, let me be very clear. Mkhonto weSizwe and the ANC will never ever form a coalition together. Why? Because both of them are fishing in the same pond for voters, and the one can take credit for what the other is doing. And the ANC will not want to give any credit to Mkhonto weSizwe, and the same for if it's the other way around. So these two despise and hate one another, and they know that the one can literally destroy the other. The ANC, if they have a bad year and Mkhonto weSizwe does something good, they can lose another 20% of their voter base very easily. And if Mkhonto weSizwe collapses, then the ANC will just get all of those votes back. So the two of them will never ever form a coalition together. So I know that you've got the DA and other political parties that are constantly saying, ooh, be scared of the doomsday coalition. It's never going to happen. It's pure bullshit. And it's just political speak to confuse you and make excuses for why they are still in the GNU. Now, whether the EFF joins the GNU, it doesn't really change much because their policies have already been implemented. And the same for Mkhonto weSizwe. People say, we need to watch out for the Doomsday Coalition. Well, please tell me, what could be worse than implementing the Bella Act, NHI, and Expropriation Act? What could be worse than those 3 destructive policies that risks your health, risks your education, and risks your property, and whether or not you will own it or not? What could be worse than that? By the way, we also, under this government, the GNU, have managed to get the Constitutional Court to come out to say, hey, kill the boer, kill the farmer is not hate speech. And there's no objection to it. There's no fighting it. It's just accepting it. So please do tell me what could potentially be worse. And I'm really asking this question. Please tell me, what could a doomsday coalition do worse than what the GNU has already given us in the last year? So the ultimate question that I've got and that I started off with in this video is, do you think things have improved since the GNU was established, and now that it's a little bit more than a year into them being in government, do you think that things have improved, yes or no? And tell me why you say so. And then also, of course, the fact that it seems that we've reached that point where South Africa does not have a legitimate opposition, because the policies that are passed by the government are policies that the opposition agrees with and that they want implemented. Example, NHI. Example, Expropriation Act. Example, the Bella Act. Those are 3 examples that they would have wanted implemented, and that's exactly what happened. So there's no opposition at the moment, and there's no real need for the opposition, because the ANC is acting like they are still the sole party that is governing South Africa. And unfortunately, it looks like the second biggest party in South Africa, the DA, is allowing them to do that. Whether it is the ANC having better strategies than the DA and they are outsmarting them, outwitting them, and outplaying them, I don't know. But something is amiss here, and it is problematic that all the red lines that have been crossed and the DA just turning a blind eye and acting that, oh, this time we will teach them. Every time that has happened, the ANC has come out on top. And that's problematic, because ultimately this has shown us that the ANC can't govern outright. The ANC can't govern in a coalition because they don't believe there is a coalition. And unfortunately, it looks like people that we thought that were brilliant in opposition would be great as a government has turned out to be nothing other than just ja-broers. People that will say, pas op, jy moet nie meer van dit doen nie of ons gaan waai. And then when it happens, it's like, okay, maar as jy nou weer nog een keer doen. And then they do it again, and then it's like, nog net een keer. So unfortunately, it looks like the GNU is not going to disband anytime soon, because it looks like the DA is very happy with the way things are moving in the GNU, even though from every single aspect, the GNU has failed to do better than what the ANC did when they were in government alone. And I would like to get your input on this, just so that we can understand whether most South Africans actually feel the same way about the GNU. So with that being said, please answer the question and please justify why you are saying what you are saying. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And please also be sure to share this video far and wide. And if you enjoy my content and you support this channel, then please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre.